Hey guys, my name's Julian. Welcome back to the workshop. In this video what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the gravel bike that I built. It is the sickest build that I've ever done. I put so much effort into this, so I'm so stoked to share it with you. What I did was I took a 2018 Avalanche Elite frame that was one of our ex-rental bikes. It was in the parts bin, it was dead, game over. I thought it needed a bit of life, so what I did was bring it to the workshop and start working on it. I've also sourced some other, let's say, interesting parts for this bike. This carbon fiber rigid mountain bike fork off AliExpress for like 80 bucks. It's pretty cool, it's super cheap, hella light. Yeah, we'll see. I've also got some carbon fiber drop-off handlebars that I found. Yeah, I've had these for years now. I bought them for $5 and yeah, I've been just looking for an excuse to use them. The coolest part about this build that I'm the most excited for is this little box right here. This sprayed up bike stuff I just haven't been able to get here in New Zealand, and I was poking around online on their website the other day and saw that they now have a distributor here, so I'm super stoked with this. I've got a few colors, we'll leave those for now as a little bit of a surprise, but yeah, super stoked with this, can't wait to do it. I also paid for this with my own money, so all the opinions in this are my own. I've got a pretty good idea of the paint job I'm going to do on here, seeing as I've already ordered the colors. Haven't locked it down, but while I think about that, I might as well start stripping the bike, getting all the stickers off, getting all the paint, get it right down to bare metal. Hopefully by that time I have a better idea. So the first job obviously is to get in there and remove all the stickers and everything. You can just go in there and blast them off, but I find it's easier for me just to go in there with a nice heat gun and just loosen up the glue and pull it all off and then start my paint removal. I do this for all the stickers on the bike and for all the stickers on the wheels. So with this frame, I decided to go right the way down to bare metal. Now you don't actually have to go right the way down to bare metal. You can get away with just a good sand and then repainting it. But I had some real nasty gouges and chips, and it's lived a hard life, this frame. So I decided to go right the way back down to bare metal. Stripping the bike of all its paint, I, like in the other videos I've done, used one of these paint stripping discs on a drill. It's an okay way to do it. Ideally I'd like to probably use a sandblaster and get a nice even finish on the aluminium before ripping this out, but this works really great and it gets the most of the paint off. You're still gonna have to go in there and sand some of it by hand. On this channel I try to show as little sanding as possible, so just for proof, here's a bit of me sanding. So after I've masked out all the important bits on the frame, it was time to hit it with some paint. I used 4 different paints, a primer, a gold, a black, and then a transparent. The first of which, the Frame Builder's primer from Sprayed Up Bike. I was super impressed with this stuff. It seems to be an etching primer, so it actually bonds the steel and gives you a good base to apply your paints afterwards. I didn't even have to sand it, it went on super light. I was really impressed with this one. Yeah, probably the best primer that I've used on these bikes. The next paint on the list was Framemakers Gold. It's a real high metallic paint. It can run quite easily if you are a bit aggressive with your paint, so I just went in here and just dusted everything a couple times. Nice light little coats. I'm only applying paint to the parts that I want to have the graphics on. I'm not painting the whole frame in this case. Speaking of graphics, before I stripped everything, I just traced over all of the graphics that I did want to keep for the GT, specifically the GT logo. This gave me a good size reference and I could pull the GT logo off the internet and then go to the vinyl cutter. Now I've shown the vinyl cutter a lot on my channel. It's actually a tool that has been really helpful for all the stuff that I'm doing. I'll put a link up here to a pretty cool frame protection thing I did with the vinyl cutter. If you can get one of these pretty cheap, I highly recommend getting it. It's good for stickers and frame protections and all that jazz. This vinyl that I'm using is a non-permanent vinyl. there's two types that you need to look out for. One is for permanent stickered vinyl on your bike, and the other is for masking stuff out like what I'm doing here. So it should come off relatively easy when I finish painting. This bike looks so sick, black on gold. Maybe a little cue for next time, eh? Next paint on the list is Spray Dot Bike Black. Now this is actually their kind of core product. It's a acrylic coating. It's not so much a paint. It goes on quite heavy. It almost looks and feels like a powder coat. It is super cool and pretty easy to spray on. I just recommend don't try wipe it till it's perfectly dry and keep any thinners far away from this thing. Probably my favorite bit of this whole process is peeling off the masking vinyl. So satisfying.
5 weeks.
Last on the list, and I use this quite a bit in this project, is the transparent clear top coat. Now this I wasn't actually gonna use. I was only gonna use it in certain bits on the carbon fiber, but to be honest, I'm so glad I did it on the frame because it just locks everything in, gives it a really good finish. Yeah, it's a pretty cool product. It also sprays on wet and then dries back to matte, which helps so much, so much. Frame's done. For the most part, we'll leave that till later till you can see that. Let's tuck into some of the other bits. I hated all the decals on the carbon fiber bits they came with, so just a nice 600 and 800 grit sanding, and obviously because I'd sanded off the lacquer to get to those under lacquer decals, had to put a little bit of transparent paint back on. It looks so sick on the carbon fiber. Now, if you've watched the videos that I've done before, I do like to get a little bit custom with all the bits. Namely on this bike, what I really wanted to do is customize the shifters, customize the pedals, and then spray as much of the silver stuff as I could find gold. Taking apart these SPDs wasn't easy. I recommend just taking your time with it. Do not strip any bolts. Remember how they go back together and you should be pretty sweet. People are going to say, oh well, it's just going to get scratched off. Well, yeah. But the paint that was on these things, it's a silver, that's going to get scratched off. I decided to just go with a really light gold so that it's not as noticeable, you know, a year down the road. They still look so sick though. Right, so let's talk about this fork. At first it looked like it would have been perfect for the bike. It was quite well made, pretty tidy, but tucking into a little bit more. I had a little bit of an issue on this bike with the dropouts. So they're offset a little bit weirdly. They're right up against where the rotor would be. I think it might be that the dropouts are kind of set up for the road scene, but they're actually selling this as a mountain bike rigid fork, so I had to do a little bit of filing. I had to get in there and just tickle it a little bit, and also when I put on the disc caliper later, the alignment was a little bit off, so had a lot of playing around with that. Right, so installation, I'm just gonna chime in here every now and again, but I'll keep this super chill. There's a few little things that I did differently than last time. But first of all, we just got to get it up on the stand, so install that seat post, eh? I'm gonna learn or teach myself how to cut some forks into the right side and install them, so we'll see. Let's crack on. So installing these forks, I didn't have any of the tools that you need. You can get a tool to set the crown race, you can get a guide to cut the steerer tube, you get a tool to knock in the star nut. To be honest, I can go out and get these pretty easily, but yeah, I kind of wanted to see what it would be like to set one of these without any of that. So I tried my best, and to be honest, in the end got a result that was okay. The only thing might be that the star nut was slightly tiny bit, like probably 1 degree out. I'll leave some links to how you should do this. Here you can see how you shouldn't, but you can. Yeah, does that make sense? Cutting the steerer tube without a guide. I've done this kind of stuff before. You just got to take it really slow. I'm only cutting tiny little bits and then rotating the pipe itself. Cut a little bit, rotate the pipe. This saves you from actually cutting really skewed. This turned out perfect, absolutely perfect. So as you probably guessed by now, I'm building this as a single speed 1x system. Yeah, it's a little bit of a waste with those real nice brand new 105 shifters, but originally the plan was to do this as a derailleur bike, but I just think a little single speed bike is going to be so sick and light. This is the same single speed conversion kit that I used in my last video, so I'll leave a link for that down below. As we get into the final stages of setting up this cockpit, it just has to be said that I've never done anything like this before. This is my chance to kind of get in there and give it a go. I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. I watched a hell of a lot of YouTube videos about it, the best of which are the Park Tool stuff, so I'll leave that down below. Wrapping handlebars for the first time was hella daunting. I watched like a million YouTube videos on it. I first started with this as wrapping the bar itself with some reversed electrical tape to give it a bit more stick. The BBB tape that I've got doesn't really have too much glue on it, so I just wanted that extra bit of security for later. I then proceeded to wrap the bars. There's a bit of a knack to it. I'll leave again some cool videos for you to have a look at. As daunting as it looks, it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Good first go. Pretty happy with it. Last little job on the bike is taping down the end of the bar tape. I did end up replacing these ones that came in the box with just some normal electrical tape. It gave it a better finish. That's it. All done. All there is left to do is have a good look at it. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I am so stoked with how this bike turned out. It was a good, 5 months of sourcing all the bits that I needed, and then probably about 2 months of building it up. Lots of work into that. If you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe and think about joining that Discord link that I left down below. It's going to be super sick in there. It'll be a cool place for us all to just share our stuff. Other than that, we got some cool stuff coming up, so I'll see you again soon, eh?